All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back with the Monday, November 20th NHL Quick Hit here for the 7-game main slate on FanDuel and DraftKings. If you are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And if you are not a member yet, head over to SHIPITNation.com. Use promo code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any package you choose, yearly, monthly, or 6-month package for life, not just the first month. Head over there. Check us out. We got all premiums, all sports, NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, PGA, you name it, we have it. Even the ancillary sports we have in the Discord with guys like Smarty posting amazing content in there. Continue to print winners in the Discord each and every night. Without further ado, let's jump right into this NHL slate here tonight. From a team total standpoint, Florida leads the slate here. Florida and Edmonton game is a 7 total. We got 3 other 6.5 totals, Colorado, Nashville. The Kings and the Coyotes is a 6.5 total. And then the late night hammer, probably the chalk of the slate, Vancouver, obviously gets that matchup against San Jose Sharks. That's a 6.5 total as well. The other games are 6 total. From the team total standpoint, the Nucks implied to score right around 6 goals. That's almost 2 goals higher than anyone else on the entire slate. That is definitely going to be the chalk of the slate anytime a good offensive team like the Nucks are facing the Sharks, one of the worst teams in the league, one of the most leaky teams in the entire league. Chalk's going to flock there, so we'll talk through that. Vancouver Canucks lead the slate in terms of team totals. Avs shortly behind that, the LA Kings, the Florida Panthers, and then Boston rounds out the top 5. In terms of the bottom 5, it's Tampa, it's Coyotes, it's the Rangers, it's the Predators, and it's the Sharks in terms of low team totals. Let's talk about my favorite stack on the slate first to kick it off. It's the Florida Panthers here at home against Edmonton. Edmonton's been the leakiest team on the road this season, allowing over 4.5 goals per game on average over their last 8 games on the road this season. Penalty kills at just 67.7%. They give up 4 penalties against on average per game as well. So really, really like this spot for this power play 1 for Florida here. Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Carter Verhaeghe, Brandon Montour, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson is what the top power play is skated to be. One interesting to note, Anton Lundell is going to slot in for Barkov on that top line. Excellent value play. I'll talk on him once we get to value center. He's skating next to Reinhart and Verhaeghe on that top line. Lundell is not going to be on that top power play. Could switch mid-game, but as right now, he is slated to be on that second power play. So really like any of these guys that are on this power play. Line 1 is my preferred power play, and then obviously line 2 you can play as well. Really like Florida here tonight. Love the spot for them. Let's talk about the chalk of the slate here. It's Vancouver at home against the Sharks. Sharks, worst team in the league in terms of defensively, allow the most high danger chances, second most shots on goal per game on the road. They allowed the most goals per game and 72% penalty kill, giving up almost 4 penalties against. So if I'm going to Vancouver here, it's the power play. It's Elias Pettersson, it's Quinn Hughes, it's JT Miller, Brock Besser, and Andrei Kuzmenko here. You can grab into some of these value guys like a guy like Connor Garland on that third line there, getting power play time. Anthony Beauvillier, 3,300, getting power play time. You can jump into some of these value guys, but really it's top 5 for me here. Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, JT Miller, Brock Besser, and Andrei Kuzmenko here as kind of where I'm looking in terms of going to Vancouver. And then you can jump into some of those value guys like a Connor Garland to make things a little bit different here. But everybody's going to play them. Hard to ignore the spot that they're in. Really like Vancouver, obviously, like everybody else is going to as well here. My third favorite stack of the night is going to be the LA Kings here on the road in Arizona to face the Coyotes here. Coyotes have been pretty leaky this year, especially on home ice here. Their expected goals is over 3. They allow the 6th most shots per game, kill off just 76% of penalties, give up 3.5 chances per game, and are kind of middle of the league in terms of high danger chances against. So overall, pretty good spot here for the Kings. I expect the Kings to draw some ownership here, but they're definitely great plays. Ans Kopitar at 5,900. That's too cheap for him in this matchup. Really like the spot for him and Kopitar. Adrian Kemp, Kevin Fiala, Pierre-Luc Dubois, I think is an excellent option. He's down on that third line with Alexis Lafreniere and Kaliev. I like all top 3 lines, lines 1, 2, and 3 for the Kings here. I prefer that second line a little bit, I think, here. Just because I like second liners a little bit more on the road. The Philip Deneau line, Kevin Fiala and Trevor Moore, really like that line overall here tonight. Then my second line would probably be the top line would probably be my second favorite. And then that third line, obviously, if you do need the value here, I think makes a lot of sense. So really like the Kings here tonight. Don't think they draw as much ownership as some of these other teams on the slate. Let's jump into my 4th favorite stack here. It's going to be the Calgary Flames here on the road in Seattle to face the Kraken here. And it's going to be mainly the power play for me here. It's just Flames power play has not been good on the road this season, just 15% of cash-in rate on their chances here. But the Kraken kill off just 65% of the penalties against. They give up over 3 chances per game. So if I'm going to them, I'm going to go to the second power play. I really like Nazem Kadri here. And I like his line mate, Popisil here as a full line strength stacked together. Popisil has been Pospisil, I think is how you pronounce it. Excuse me for mispronunciation there. But he's been very good. He's still cheap. So I really like that 2-man stack there. But Kadri on that top power play. Elias Lindholm, Connor Zary also skating next to Kadri, full strength. He's been good. He's sub 4K, so really like that 2-man stack. You can add that 3-man stack, gets you access to the power play, and obviously all the skaters correlate when they're on the full strength. So really like the second line for Calgary, Zary and Kadri as a 2-man stack there on that power play. Noah Hannafin I like as well at 3,800. He's on that top power play, sub 4K. So you get this top power play very cheap. And then Jonathan Huberdeau coming off 18 and 17 DraftKings points. He's 3,700. So this top power play here for the Flames is super cheap. Have a pretty solid matchup here. The game's basically a pick 'em. It is only 6 total here, but both these teams have been pretty leaky, and I'm going to side with the Flames in this one. I like the Flames shot a little bit here. Both these teams are basically equal, in my opinion. 6-11 to start the year for the Flames, 7-12 to start the year for the Kraken. Pretty similar teams. I'm going to side with Calgary here. I think Calgary can score some goals, and I think they go overlooked in this one as well. Last team of the night here that's going to draw some ownership, but I'm on the Boston side here against Tampa Bay. Tampa's been pretty leaky. Their expected goals is second worst in the league on home ice this year. They give up the 4th most high danger chances as well. The 2nd most shots against in the league per game as well. And Boston's got some firepower. David Pastrnak's playing incredible hockey right now. He is expensive, so I don't love it, but 9,600 for David Pastrnak. You can argue he has some of the highest upside on the entire slate. He's averaging over 22 DraftKings points per game over the last 5. So if you can afford him, he's a great play. Brad Marchand's secretly been very, very good. He's averaging 17.5 fantasy points per game, and he's sub 7K at 6,900. So I really like the spot there for Brad Marchand. James Van Riemsdyk skating on that second line. He's been very, very good, averaging over 10 fantasy points per game over the last 5, and he's 4,400. So James Van Riemsdyk is probably my favorite. A guy that's a punt option here that nobody's going to play, that actually has been pretty consistent over the last 5 games or so, averaging over 2 shots on goal per game. He's only going to play 13 to probably 15 minutes here, but he's 2,900. It's Danton Heenan here for the Boston Bruins. I like him as a value play. He's got an incredible history against Tampa, coming off back-to-back 2 good games where he's had 3 shots on goal, 5 shots on goal, and a goal in the last 2. 2,900 for him in this spot here. I think he's a nice value play. Danton Heenan here for Boston Bruins. But my preferred line would probably be the second line if I'm going to Boston. James Van Riemsdyk, Charlie Coyle, and Frederick here, just because of the price points. I can spend up for the Vancouver side. I can spend up for some of the Florida guys, and it just makes it overall easier to stack up. But hard to argue with the upside Pastrnak shows here, and definitely like the 2-man stack there, Marchand and Pastrnak, if you can afford it. And then Zacha has been very, very good as well. So Boston, is going to round out the top 5 stacks here for me. Jumping into some of the value plays here. Like the Avs here. I like the Avs. I think people are going to go to the Avs here. But if I'm going to the Avs, it's going to be some of the value guys. One guy that stands out to me is Ross Colton. This guy's been on an absolute tear. 11, 13, 15, and 16 DraftKings points in his last 4 games, averaging nearly 3 shots on goal per game over the last 5. He's 3,900, sub 4K at the center position. So Ross Colton, one of the best center values on the entire slate. And then he is shortly behind the best center value on the entire slate. I expect this guy to draw a decent amount of ownership at just $3,100, but he's up on that top line filling in for Barkov. It's Anton Lundell, $3,100 for him, $600 over min price. Very, very hard to ignore the spot that he's in. He's at least 3 shots on goal in each of his last 3 games. And that's a nice solid floor baked in there with a ton of upside skate next to Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart in this matchup against Edmonton, who's been very leaky. So Anton Lundell, my favorite value play on the entire slate. Really like that. Jumping into 3 more value centers here. Number 1, Yanni Gourde here at home versus Calgary. Always like Yanni Gourde here. He plays a ton of minutes, over 18 minutes. He's going to play roughly 18 to 19 minutes, somewhere in the ballpark, 17 to 19. I think is pretty safe here. He's played at least 18 minutes in each of his last 4 games, and he has always got the upside. So I think Yanni Gourde at home, on home ice, like third liners a little bit more there. I think he's a fine value play. Cody Glass is back here for Nashville, and he's going to play probably 14 to 16 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. Not very, very active, but he is slotted to be on that top power play unit, so that gives him a boost at just 3,100 if you need a punt there. Don't love the matchup there. Colorado's been very good, especially expected goals against, but if you need unowned value play, a guy with some upside, in my opinion, just due to the power play time alone, Cody Glass, you can look there. 3,100 for a guy getting top power play unit work is definitely too cheap for that. And then the last guy is a stone punt here, Luke Cunnin for the San Jose Sharks. Sharks, terrible team, but Vancouver could get lazy in this one, allow a goal or 2 here. And Luke Cunnin has had 12, 16, and 18 DraftKings points in each of his last 3 games, has a goal in 3 straight games here. He's playing great hockey right now. He's $2,900 getting power play time skate next to Hoffman and LeBlanc here. Vancouver could get a little lackluster here, and you could see him pot a goal. And if he does, it's going to pay off that price point, and he's going to be unowned. So Luke Kunin is going to be the last value play for me from the center position. Jumping into the wing play here. First value wing that I'm going to bring up is Blake Coleman here. Talked about liking Calgary in this one. You can play all 3 lines for Calgary, but Blake Coleman, that third line with Backlund, Huberdeau, and Blake Coleman, really like that line. And Blake Coleman at 3,900, he's been good. He's shown upside this year. He's playing 16 to 18 minutes. He's averaging over 3 shots on goal per game. He's averaging over 12.5 fantasy points per game over the last 5 as well. Playing great hockey right now, 3,900. Blake Coleman is a nice value play. His other teammate here is Martin Pospisil. Here skating next to Kadri and Zary on that second line. Really like that second line if I'm full line strength stacking this team. And he's 3,600. So I really like him. Overall, really like that Flame second line at their price points. So you can add him to the list. Jordan Eberle for the Seattle Kraken has played great hockey since he's returned after sitting out 3 games there. Edmonton, New York Islanders, and Vancouver, he's played very good. All 3 of the last games, played at least 16 minutes in both of those games. So anywhere from 16 to 18 minutes here, I expect out of Jordan Eberle. He's averaging over 2.5 shots on goal per game, $3,700. You can look to him for a value play. Going to the Vancouver side, 3,500. Connor Garland, I expect this guy to draw a decent amount of ownership, but he is a third liner. So should keep ownership pretty down, but it is the best matchup of the night here for Vancouver. Obviously, likely the chalk of the slate, and you can get different with a guy like Connor Garland sitting on that second power play as well. He's going to play anywhere from 13 to 15 minutes, so not a ton of ice time there, but in a matchup against the Sharks where Vancouver should be leading pretty handily, 3 or 4 goal lead, you could see these depth guys get a little bit more run. So Connor Garland, definitely like him as a value play. And then the last guy, I already brought this guy up when I talked on Boston. It's Danton Heenan here. He's got great history against Tampa. I expect Boston to score some goals here in this one. Tampa's been pretty leaky, and Danton Heenan has some good history and playing pretty good hockey right now, so he would round out my value wings on this slate. Jumping into the D position here, some value defenders. First guy is for Seattle, or two guys, excuse me. These guys I'm going to bring up every time. They just continue to get the job done. Adam Larson for Seattle and Jamie Olisiak. I like both of them. They're both sub 4K, both in decent matchups here, and both getting a ton of minutes. Adam Larson's playing over 24 minutes on average over the last 5 games, 11, 6, and 8 DraftKings points in each of his last 4. Like him, as a value play, Jamie Olisiak, same thing. Another value D-man, Matt Roy, has actually the best matchup on the slate. D-man against these Coyotes. I like the Kings quite a bit here. And Matt Roy is playing 21 to 22 minutes here, $3,700. He's been very good as well. So Matt Roy is another value D-man that I would look at on this slate. Going back to Colorado here, I can't get a great read on Colorado and Nashville. I think the game play is a little bit lower, but I do think we see some goals in this one. And Devon Toews here at 4K flat, 15, 3, 17, 16, and 22. So 15 DraftKings points at least in 4 of his last 5 with a ceiling of 22. I think Devon Toews for the Colorado Avalanche getting power play time as well. He's going to play 23 to 25 minutes. I like him as a value play if you land on him at 4K. Going back to Vancouver here, Tyler Myers, 3,600. He's playing good hockey right now, playing over 20 minutes, averaging over 2 shots on goal per game as a D-man, averaging over 2 blocks per game. Has a solid floor backed in with some ceiling and in a great matchup here against the San Jose Sharks. So Tyler Myers, 3,600 for the D-man, going to round out that. And then the last guy I'll bring up, talking about Calgary, talking about that top power play unit, it's Noah Hannafin. 8, 14, 11 DraftKings points. He's going to play anywhere from 23 to 24 minutes. And he's got a nice power play matchup here, like the Flames a little bit in this matchup against Seattle. So Noah Hannafin going to round out the value D-man. Jumping into the goalie position here, my favorite goalie on the slate is going to be Linus Ullmark. I think he sees shot volume. I think Boston wins the game, and he's just 7,600. He's been excellent all year long. I expect him to draw a decent amount of ownership, but I think he's still going to be under-owned for what his upside is in this matchup. Really like Boston. Really like Linus Ullmark at his price point on the slate. My favorite goalie of the slate. Jumping into a GPP option that's going to be super low owned, but has a ton of upside here. It's Juuse Saros on home ice, 7,100 for him. He's had great success against Colorado in the past. He's going to see a ton of volume. So even if he lets up a couple of goals to Rantanen or McKinnon, he has shot block and save upside to pay off that salary at 7,100. Not too often you see a guy that in this spot is only a plus 140 home dog with a ton of upside to break the slate at just 7,100. So Saros, I think, is in consideration for GPPs at that price point. The spend-up goalie that's going to likely be the chalk of the slate is going to be Thatcher Demko. He's been great goalie all year long outside of the Seattle and Toronto games. He's 8,500. It's expensive. If he lets up a goal or two, it's going to be hard for him to pay off that salary just because the Sharks take the least amount of shots on goal per game in the league on the road. So he's not going to see a ton of shot volume. And if he gives up a goal or two, it's going to be hard for him to get those points back. So Thatcher Demko, have to bring him up. He is the chalk goalie of the slate. You can definitely go to him. I don't see a way where Vancouver loses this game. But from a DFS scoring perspective, it's a lot of salary to pay for him in this matchup where he's not going to see a ton of shot volume. So I don't love him a ton. And then my last goalie I'm going to talk about is Sergei Bobrovsky. He's going to be my favorite spend-up goalie at 8,200. The reason is because Edmonton shoots the puck 6th most in the league. So even if he does give up a goal or two to some of those high horsepower power skaters from Edmonton, he has the save upside to pay off that salary. So I really like Bobrovsky if I'm spending all the way up. I like Florida to win the game as well. So Bobrovsky is going to be my spend-up goalie of choice at $8,200. But that's going to do it for this edition of the NHL Quick Hit for Monday, November 20th for this 7-game slate. Good luck tonight in all your contests. As always, my content will be live on ShipItNation.com for premium subscribers. If you are not a member, head over to our website, ShipItNation.com. Click pricing, and you can view our packages we have available. Best all-in rate in the entire industry for what you get. And we have all the tools that you need to have success with DFS. that's going to wrap it up. I will see you guys tomorrow, I believe, with another breakdown here for NHL. As always, good luck tonight in your contest. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. For myself, Nadesify, let's ship it.